Hello everybody, it's Andy here from Media Games. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up an interact widget. So if your player walks over to a cube and stares at it, then it will pop up with a widget on the screen. Now this, I'm pretty sure there's hundreds of videos out there that explain this method, but for my community, they've asked for it. I've had quite a few people ask, so here it is, and not everybody's found those other videos either. So what we're going to do, the first thing, find somewhere in your content browser to create a folder. Once you've created that folder, I'm just going to use this one. I'm going to right click, scroll down to user interface, and then we're going to go down to widget blueprint, just like so. Once we have our widget blueprint open, let's get rid of this. Once we have our widget blueprint created, we want to name it, which is the first thing you should do. So I'm just going to name this to widget. Oh, excuse me, it's like 3 in the morning for me. I'm tired. Widget. Let's say pop up. I can't think of a better word. Widget interface would be probably perfectly fine. So we've got a little widget pop up that's going to go interact, or show the player that we can interact with the object that we're looking at, right? There are many other ways to do it. There are like post-process volumes and stuff like that, post-process materials, where you can have like edge highlights, etc, etc. But for this tutorial, I'm going to be sticking with the old school method of using widget blueprints. I'm going to open this up, and in here we're going to go to search palette. I'm going to go to canvas, and we want to use a canvas panel. So the canvas panel represents our screen space. So when you're sat at your desk and you look at your monitor in front of you, this corner to corner is your monitor screen, corner to corner. So this here is your resolution. So mine's 1921 by 1081, which is a 1920 by 1080 pixel screen. So I'm 1080 resolution. So we've got a canvas panel. Now we're going to get a image. Oh god, my brain's not braining. Drop that on there. We're going to drag this into the. It's just going to pop it here. Not quite center, but just maybe a little bit higher, just so we can see it up with the player. Because I'm in the third-person template, we're not really going to see this properly if we drop it right in the center, because the player's center camera. So let's drop an anchor point. Now the anchor point will, as it states in the name, it will anchor it to that section of the screen. So if you were to change the resolution, field of view, it will hold the user interface as close to that point that it's anchored as it can, so it doesn't, let's say for example you had a window here and you don't anchor it, it could end up opening half off screen. So the anchor will help it stay in position. So we're going to compile it. We don't need to do anything. Let's give it a color actually. Let's make it red. Why not? Compile it, save it, and close it. And then we're going to go into our third person character, which is this one here, blueprints. We're going to open this up. Now in here, I've only got the default stuff, so there's nothing in here to see that's very interesting. But we're going to go down to find some space, and we're going to add a few nodes. So let's right click, event, begin, play is the first one. Excuse me 1 second. So the event begin play is the first one. We're going to drag out of this and going to create a widget, and we're going to assign the widget that we just created to this here. So we want the one that we just created in here, this one, and that's going to go here. Now we're going to go and right click on this return value and go promote to a variable, and then we're going to name this. This is our widget. What do we call it? Pop up. Pop up. Okay. So, oh god, excuse me, I'm so tired. So we're going to go event begin play, create widget. This is going to bring our widget into existence so we can overlay it. Like widgets don't exist until they're created, right? So we're going to event begin play, create our widget, and now we have a variable that we can call. So we're going to go widget blueprint. Sorry, we've got our widget, blueprint reference here, and we're going to go and get a custom event. Let's add a custom event, and we're going to name this one to add and remove widget, so we know what it does. Now this is our delegate pin, and this is our execution pin, or our output. So on our output, we want to set timer by event. It kind of acts like an event tick, but it's not as heavy. So we're going to go and set our time, which is going to be 0.02 of a second. We're going to set it to looping, and then the important part is we're going to set our delegate pin to this. So this is the event that we want to repeat. Out of here, we want a, we'll do line trace by, sphere trace by channel. Because we're using the third person template, so we're going to use a sphere trace. Gives a little bit more kind of forgiveness when it comes to detecting the object in front. Our radius, we're going to set that to, let's say, 50. And we're going to get our player camera, so we'll get our follow cam, get world location out of this. So our follow camera, drag out, and you're going to get world location, and then we're also going to get forward vector, just like so. So now we have these two nodes, and we're doing a little bit of maths. Don't worry, you don't have to figure it out. It's never fun doing maths, unless you like maths, then it is. Right, so out of this one, we want it multiply. And that's not how you spell multiply. Come on, Andy. Multiply, there we go. And the dog's having a drink. Out of this one, we're going to get an add node. And we want to connect this. We want to connect our multiply, into our add, and the add's going to go into end. So we go follow cam, get forward vector, multiply a channel, output, add, output into the input B on the add, and the output on the add into the end, and then the start goes into your return value. Double click the line to get a reroute, and then drag that up. So this is what you should have here, and this is what you should have here. Press Q to straighten the nodes. Now this is now incorrect because we've got a free vector and we want a single precision float. So we're going to right click and we're going to go to float single precision. We're going to change this to a higher number, like maybe 1500, just so it can reach from the follow camera to the front of the player, gives us more distance. Okay, moving on in the right direction. I'm going to drag out of alt hit. We don't have to search for anything, just move your mouse down until you see break hit result. If you don't have this for any reason, then you've got the wrong node. So break hit result, I'm going to move that down. I'm going to click this little drop down arrow, and we're going to get hit component. I'm going to type in has tag because we're going to set up a couple of tags, or maybe one, sorry. I'm going to click on this arrow, bring that back up, straighten these, get a branch with B, hold B and left click. I'm going to drag that into there, and then our return value is going to go into condition. Right, so let's move this over here. Let's move these down a bit. Move that over. Move that over there. Okay, let's get another branch. And we'll get one more. And we'll get one more underneath. Okay, so from this branch, the one with the return value, we want just underneath our component tag is going to go into the condition to the one next to it. Our true is going to go into the input of the second branch. Our false is going to go into the input of this one, just like so. Okay, we're going to double click here, bring that up, double click here, bring that down, then drag from this into here. So this is going to give us two false outputs into this branch. The true of this branch, so let's show you, goes trace by channel, hit result, component tag, branch 1, branch 2, branch 3 and branch 4. That's how we will refer to them. So branch 2, true, goes into this branch. Oh, God, I hate when I do that. There we go. And now we need to set up our widget. So we're going to grab our widget, and then we're going to get the node called isInViewport. So this is going to determine whether or not the overlay is already projected for the player to see. So what I mean by that is if the widget is already on display, we're not going to get an overlap or a double creation. So it's not going to create the widget twice. If the widget is already in the viewport, do not recreate it. Either remove from parent or keep it on the viewport. So we're going to bring this up. That's going to go in here, and that's going to go in here, just like so. We can probably make that look nicer actually. Do that, bring that down, straighten those, and then that can go in there. Okay, so we're going to copy this one. This is our widget, so it's just this. So we're just going to copy it, Control C, Control V, and then we're going to add the two nodes at the end. So add to viewport, and then we want, so this is going to be out of false. And we want remove from parent, and that's going to be true. Okay, so quick recap. Cough first, right? So on begin gameplay, we're going to create our widget and the reference to it. Whenever the player looks at an object, it's going to constantly draw a trace from the player's camera. When it overlaps, so it's going to draw it 1500 units forwards from the player's camera. When this overlaps with a hit object that has a component tag of what we set up now, then it's going to add our widget to the viewport. If you're no longer looking at something that contains this tag, we're then going to remove from viewport. That's all this means, remove from parent. Okay, so we're going to compile that. That should all be set up. It's not going to work until we set up a tag. So let's go into our third person game, our third person template, and we're going to click on this cube, and we're going to delete that and get rid of this. So whenever you click on an object in a game, whether it be this, you can go to search and type in TAG for tags. You can do actor tags or you can do component tags. Now, it's very important you pick the right one. If we go back into our third person blueprint, we've got hit component. So when the line trace hits the component, when it interacts or overlaps this box, we need to make sure that the component tag is the same. So we're going to click plus, can interact. I'm going to Control A, Control C, and then we're going to go to a third person, zoom in, and I'm going to paste it in this box. And then we're going to compile and go in game. We're going to move that over and move that here. So we'll show you, and then we're going to copy this one and move it here and press play. So if we go over to this cube and we look at this, you notice that nothing's popping up, right? So let's check why. So how does this fail when we set it up correctly? Because when you use an event tick, it automatically, constantly, every single frame will fire off the code. So if you have a game running at 110 or 200 frames per second, the event tick is going to be firing that code off constantly. Because we're using a set timer by event, we need to call this to enable it. So on our event begin play, we're going to go to our event graphs on the left side, and we're going to drag this and drop here. So this is going to call this function, which is tied to this custom event, which then runs this code. So if we compile and go in and play, now we'll notice that when you go up to the cube, you can see when we look at it, we have the overlay, and when we stop looking at it, we no longer have the overlay. So we move over, it's there. This one doesn't have the tag, so it doesn't work. This one has the tag, so it works. So, hope it helps, hope it was helpful. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.